All right, here we go. Welcome to our Facebook Live Aftercast, where we talk about stuff that we didn't get to on the show today. And when we come back from vacation, a lot of times we'll do a Slippidy slide show, which is a lot of fun.
Slide, slide, slippity slide.
I want everyone to enjoy the pictures that I took, and also some of the stories, like how my wife made me look like a racist at one point. That was fun.
I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, I know. No, it's true. It is very true. And so we'll go through that as well as some other things. But it is good to be back. I am on the mend.
Right, he had
I
COVID.
had the COVID.
Got the COVID from the couple that you made friends with on your cruise.
Yeah, and they had a room right next door to ours, and I'm sure that we were breathing the same air, and so I got it. But my wife did not. So my wife and Betty Rock are the only ones with tiger blood now, which really...
Marty hasn't had it yet?
No.
Okay.
Now, there is some debate as to whether or not she had it 2 years ago or not, like when we were on vacation, and I don't know, but... I tend to think so, but she swears not, and we didn't have tests, so we don't know. But we're going to go with she has tiger blood for right now because she avoided getting COVID from me, on a cruise ship and on a plane, which is amazing.
Right. And two, I'm kind of surprised that, you said you took the COVID-19 test, which I'm surprised you even had some at your home already.
Oh, we still had them, yeah.
And that you said that when you took it, it just popped up.
The line instantly showed up within less than 20 seconds. I'm like, dadgummit, because I took it to be a good person for everybody else coming into work. Because I know there are people that have issues or, immunocompromised people in their lives and stuff like that. And so I didn't want to be in a place where I came back. So I checked with the company. I'm like, okay, what is our policy? And they're like, if you got it, if you have a positive test, you got to stay out for 5 days. And then you can come back to work if you haven't had a fever for 24 hours without medicine. And I never had a fever. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it if it makes everybody else feel comfortable. But mine literally was just like a sinus infection and not that bad, except for being tired, and I lost my taste for a couple days.
Well, and when I posted this and when you were giving your overly dramatic COVID updates, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you.
A lot of people were saying, oh, why doesn't he just try and eat veggies because you won't be able to taste them?
I could taste enough that I still would have vomited. I didn't lose all my taste.
He's still being dramatic.
Even COVID couldn't make him eat veggies.
No, if I had lost all my taste, I would have definitely done some videos with that. But there's no way with only losing part of my taste that I'm having a vegetable.
Oh, good
no
grief.
possible way. So I did quarantine for the full 5 days. Like my wife went out and got food, and things like that. And there was one point she's like, "Do you want to go to a movie?" I'm like, "I don't think I should. I know I'm not contagious. I don't feel bad, but." No, I'm not going to. And so,
Good for
even
you.
mask up. So
you
I
were
did 5 days.
responsible there, but then you were telling us a story about how you felt like you were being weak.
Yeah.
And so you made yourself go outside
Yes.
to the point where you almost fainted.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this on the show more, I think tomorrow, that I'm having this realization that, the best of my life is behind me now.
The best of your, let's say, physical life.
Yeah, exactly. Is behind me now. And I really, I'm frustrated by that. I can't make my body do things that I wish it could do. And so I was frustrated by that. So I went out in the heat of the day and did some work knowing it was going to be really bad. And I wanted to push myself through it. Well, I pushed myself to the point of almost passing out twice.
That's not healthy.
But I got through it, and so I was like, all right.
And what do you get? A trophy?
No trophy. No one cared. No one knew. My wife didn't even come look for me when I disappeared. I came back inside. I'm like, do you realize that I almost passed out a couple of times? Oh, really? I was getting a shower. Okay.
Good to know that she shouldn't be your emergency contact.
No, absolutely not. My cat would be a better emergency contact. My cat would actually look for me oh, hey, where you been, man? I was worried about you. So I did that when I got back. But I follow the rules and for whatever it's worth. I don't know now that they really have to because actually everything has been, lifted as far as COVID restrictions. Here's the interesting thing though. On the cruise ship, the people that got COVID, they did feel really bad. So they were sick. And so she went down and said, I don't feel good. And they said, do you want to take a COVID test? And she didn't have to. And she goes, no, I don't feel good. I want to be responsible for people around me because you sit in small areas and dining with people and stuff. And so hers came back instantly. But what happened was that triggered their policies of, oh, okay, well, you're locked down now. So they basically had to stay in their hotel room for the rest of the cruise, which we had only been on the cruise for like 2 days. So they missed 5 ports, missed all the the things that they had spent money on. But the cruise line was really good to them. Like they would bring them food. Obviously, they gave them free Wi-Fi, and they tried to, and they were refunding them part of their cruise and stuff. So they did a good job with it. But had they not taken the test and just taken cold medicine or whatever, they wouldn't have had to stay in their room.
I wonder if they regret telling anybody.
I asked her that, and she was like, "No, because I really."
You asked her that in person
Yes.
after she said she had COVID.
Oh yeah,
and you wonder why you have it.
Well, okay. So here's the deal: we shared a balcony basically. So we would look around the balcony and we could talk to them. We could lean out and we talked to them a bunch, even while they had it. But it's weird. Marty always had me in front of her. That's why she didn't get it. I was the salad shield basically for Marty. And so I got it. But yeah, she was like, no, I didn't want to make anyone else sick, which is great. Like I respect that. And the people that they sat with. Here's the other interesting thing is the cruise line was like, we can't tell anybody because of HIPAA stuff that it's you.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to tell people, you can. And so they sent a message to the people they'd been eating dinner with that we have COVID. And these people were so kind to them. They brought them dessert every night from the restaurant and left it outside of their door. And they never got sick either. And they sat with them.
What was their name? Their first name?
The people's name? Brent and Robin. Why?
Oh, okay. Because they said that they're watching.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
It says, Robin and Brent, they just said, he's talking about me.
Yes.
Hi, Wally.
That's so
Hi,
crazy.
Wally.
Yeah, that's them. They were
So they gave
nice.
you COVID. Hey, Robin and Brent, did you know that now Wally got COVID
I did.
after you?
Yeah. I don't know if Marty told him because Marty had been talking with her back and forth. But again, they were so nice. And they did the right thing at their own cost, to do the right thing for other people. But like, yeah, we had brought a card game on and we wrote a note like, hey, here's to pass the time. And we slid it under the divider of the thing. And it was funny because she was like, I'm assuming you don't want these cards back. We're like, no, we're good.
Yeah, please. Oh, my goodness.
Unless you're going to wash them all. But no, we met a lot of really nice people on the cruise. They were one of them. We met this other family that we ended up just constantly crossing paths, and their kids were like super like into us. Like the little guy Dylan was like, I'm gonna marry you, Miss Marty. Like I'm like, have at her. You are gonna go broke with this one, pal. And so but they were really nice. We did a couple port outings with them. And so we met some really great people. My wife also not only made me look like a racist on this cruise, she also turned me into a creeper. We'll get to that in the slideshow as well. She was in rare form, my wife.
I find this very hard to believe.
I'm kind of surprised she's not here today. She's like, do I need to come there and defend myself today? I'm like, no, you're fine.
Feels like the thing that you did to yourself, but you're blaming her for it.
No, this was her fault. We'll get to it in a minute. Okay, so anyway, let's get into the Slippidy slideshow here.
Slippity slide.
All right. So we start off with the beginning of the trip, and this is what a little thing called business class looks
Wow, look at that.
like. What in the world?
Look at that.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Marty is laying down.
Yes.
Like an Airbnb in the sky.
I cannot begin to tell you how great this is. Okay, so we were flying Scandinavian Airlines.
Never had heard of that until I saw you posting about it.
And apparently, like when you book your flight, you can bid for upgrades. And so we bid to get a price lower than it would cost you to just upgrade on your own. And so we bid for it. We were, and it was more money than we thought. And we thought, okay, we're not going to get it. So this will be fun. So we bid for it. And all of a sudden, the day before the cruise, or the day before our flight, we get a note from them saying, you won the bid. What? My wife and I looked at each other. We're like, that is a little bit of money, but
Yeah, it's like if you had lost, you'd have been like, okay, we just have, X amount of money left over. But at the same time, you won, so you got the most comfortable flight of your life.
Any feeling of that being a lot of money when we walked in and sat into those seats went away instantly.
I mean, just like it looks like you have so much room.
You do.
And it's a 7-hour flight.
Yeah.
Like the bad part is now that you know what you're going to be missing out on when you go to coach, it's going to be so much harder.
I flew coach home, and I hated myself. Okay, if you look at the picture, like the seats, they have all this storage behind you. You have so much room. Normally, you know, when you're sitting in coach, you got stuff crammed into every little pocket. And you can't move. If you drop something, Lord help you. Here, you drop something, 4 people swoop in and pick it up for you.
This is like it's impossible to touch any other person's elbow.
No. Like, there were points like when we would lay back, like you couldn't see each other, you know, which was next level.
I hope to one day experience this.
I told Betty Rock, I said on the next, I would never do this again, like flying domestically, but if I ever had another really long flight, like some of our flights to Africa are 10 plus hours, I would consider paying for the upgrade. And I told Betty she should do it. Like, how horrible would that be? We're on like a compassion trip, and everyone else on our trip is in the back, like Gavin.
It's a tough look.
And
we're
like
up
peasants
in the front.
watching them walk by. Bye, peasants.
Well, here's the thing. You do start to feel entitled, okay? And you don't deserve it, you know, but you feel instantly like you're like everyone else up in there that's better than everyone. That transfers onto you the minute you walk there. And when you go to get off the flight, they hold the rest of the plane till you leave first.
Man.
It's next level.
That is so wonderful.
When they served us food, they put on chef's jackets. I mean, it's so dumb.
Those aprons on.
If you see, I don't ever want to fly again where I cannot sit crisscross applesauce. Like,
that's spoiled right there.
You act like you are 6'1".
I know.
Like you need all of this.
Okay, scroll down one. If you look
next
at
picture.
if you look at my meal, look at
how many silverware you have.
It's real silverware.
Oh my goodness!
And I have 3 knives, 3 forks, and 2 spoons.
You don't even. Why do you
Did you
need
just
that
get that
much?
for like a roll and some butter?
I don't know why I
did
had
you
all
eat?
those. I had a steak.
Oh, I see it.
You'll see
Oh,
that
no.
below, and it was really good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And then that's a picture of me laying completely down on a flight. It is next level awesome.
Did you end up sleeping? On this
Yeah.
flight? Like, did you get a good night's sleep in this?
I was mad that it was only a 7-hour flight.
You're like, why is this not 12 hours?
When we got on the plane and the pilot's like, we'll be traveling today over to Copenhagen, and it's going to be a 7-hour flight. I was like, no! I wanted to at least be 9.
Yeah, if you paid the money for it.
Yes!
You know, Nunya, she brings up a great point that it's called SaaS business. And that explains you very well.
Oh, absolutely. I leaned into it. Yeah. Oh, I was with my people. Okay. Now here is
That is
1
awesome.
billion% the best part of this story, which you guys are going to hate me for. Okay. So we pay for the upgrade. We fly in the day before, and our flight is delayed going into Dulles, and we miss our first flight to Copenhagen. Fortunately, my wife had gotten us going in 2 days early so we wouldn't miss the cruise. So we miss it. We have to then spend 4 hours in the airport arguing with different people, trying to make sure our luggage is there, trying to get accommodations. It was a disaster. And so we finally get a hotel room. They gave us some food. So we go and we're like, all right, it's not a big deal. We'll fly out tomorrow. They got us. They automatically booked us on another flight. It was great. So then I go up and I said, hey, yesterday we had paid for an upgrade and we won it. And they were like, oh, well, we don't have anything to do with that. It's a third-party thing. I said, well, but I paid for it, and so I'd like to just transfer it to this flight. Oh, well, we can't do that. You have to call the number. So I call the number. I spent an hour on the phone with the number. The number says you have to talk to the desk person. We can't do anything. I go back to her, and she's like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. I said, really? I said, honestly, I'm not trying to get anything free. I just want what I paid for. And she goes, well, let me make a call. So she calls Europe. Her line to Scandinavian Airlines and calls them, gets on the phone, tries to explain what's happened. The guy's explaining, he's taking it all in, and then he goes, they get disconnected. And she goes, I'm sorry, I've spent too much time on this. I can't spend any more time on this.
She's got a job herself.
Right. And so I wasn't mad, but it wasn't the best look customer service-wise from United. And so, I'm like, all right, I get it. So I just resigned myself. I call back the number.
You're such a good person.
I'm going back
such a hero.
I'm going back to coach with everybody else. And so I call the number for SAS, the Scandinavian Airlines, and I'm like, how do I get my money back? Everyone's telling me they can't do anything. He goes, okay, there's a form, and he walks me through it. Here, go to this thing, click on this, fill out the form, do it this way. And so I fill out the form to get my money back. And so my wife and I were bummed, but you can't be too mad. We're still going on a cruise. So we're trying to manage stuff.
Yeah.
And so we go to Five Guys and we're eating in the airport. And I look at my phone one more time. I'm like, oh, my seats changed and they went to one. Like, I'm like, what?
Out of nowhere.
I show my wife, I'm like, this can't be real. So we go running back. I don't even take, I think I left my food behind. We go running back to the beginning of, to the desk, and I showed the lady, and she goes, wow, I guess that guy worked it out after all. I'm like, what? You didn't get back a hold with him? She's like, no. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm like, thank you for your help. And so get on the flight. All of this flight stuff happens. It's amazing. So then I get to where I still have internet, and I get a notice from Scandinavian Airlines that says, we have processed your refund. What?
Oh, he did say we were going to hate him at the end of this.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that you got a first class ticket and you didn't have to pay for it?
I got all my money back.
Why'd you get your money back?
Because I had already filled out the paperwork, and their two systems, I guess, didn't talk. So I got that flight for me and my wife for free.
You haven't said that all day today.
No.
You've kept that part of the story.
This makes me hurt.
Okay,
Next time I hope you pay double.
Now, so here's the thing, though. I get back, and I call them to rectify the situation because I don't want something I didn't pay for.
Sure.
So I call them. I say, look, here's the deal. And I'm explaining to him what happened. He's like, oh, that's horrible. I can't believe that happened to you. I'm so sorry. I said, but no, we ended up getting the flight, and I ended up not paying for it because I got refunded. He said, you've already been refunded for the flight? I said, yes, I've already been refunded. He goes, well, I don't see the problem then. I said, well, no, I need to pay for it. And he goes, oh. He goes, no, sir, I appreciate your honesty. Just mark this one up to a nice courtesy from Scandinavian Airlines. Hey! And I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah. You're like, and generosity.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we got these amazing things. So this goes into something we talked about on the show, girl math. So I didn't have to pay that money, and so now that money to me is free money.
I get it.
That I could use for other things.
You got a free first class flight.
Yeah, and so now that money was like, it was not cheap, and so I'm like, oh, I could use that for other things now. Like my next flight to Hawaii, because we were like, we're not doing this again. We can't. But then I'm like, now we can.
You kind of didn't, yeah.
Exactly.
How good is that?
So anyway,
awesome.
I mean, that's where the trip started. Okay, go to the next one. So we're in Copenhagen. We're walking down by the water.
Hold up. Got it.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, are you switching slides?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. And so we find this weird, like, you're not getting in this water. This water's cold. We find this weird thing out over the water of ramps and stuff. And then there's a slide there that is all wooden slats. And I even asked people in Copenhagen that live there, like, what is that for? And they're like, we don't know.
Like, oh, really?
Yeah. She's like, I jump off the top of it. I don't slide down it.
You've worked on, like, you work with wood a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that is it possible for that to be something that you wouldn't get splinters in your beer for?
No, that's going to hurt. Like, and I'm like, you guys do such good work with furniture there in Scandinavia.
It's not even art. Like, what are we looking at?
And I would think you would get splinters on your bum.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Like, so I think they can wet it down and you can slide on it because wood, when it's wet, is slippery.
Sure.
But I'm like, that does not seem fun at all.
Maybe they go down on like a sled type situation.
Yeah.
Or
this was the first bit of weirdness in Copenhagen. But Copenhagen's beautiful. Like, so we go down and they've got all these canals. And so we decided to take a canal boat tour to learn a little history and go through the things.
So you didn't go down the side?
No.
Oh, boo.
It was too cold. Yeah. Okay, switch to the next one, Lady Rock. And so, yeah, this is like their really cool street, and we're on one of these boats. And the miracle of this boat ride, though, is I went to pay for it. The lady hands me my credit card back. We're on a dock.
Oh, yeah.
The credit card slips out of my hand, bounces 2 times on the dock, and lands right next to the crack, and it doesn't fall down.
Nice.
Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, a free trip in first class, and I didn't lose my card. This is the best trip ever. And it did cost me one day that was horrible. But other than that, it was
God's
pretty great.
favor, man.
Okay, so we go to the next slide. So we're in the Lego store. The picture on the left is
cool.
Is the Lego version of the street we're actually on the right.
That's cool.
I'm like, this was so great. It was this really cool eating area, and it was a cool vibe. Yeah, it's called Newhound is how they pronounce that.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's how
Newhound.
you say Newhound?
Newhound, yeah. And
Love
we went there. Okay, next one. So this is the famous statue of the Little Mermaid.
I've heard of this.
Hans Christian Andersen, I guess, wrote it, and so they have a whole building, to him and a statue of him. But this is this Little Mermaid statue that everybody goes to see, and we saw it from the boat. That's why we're on the backside of it. But people go there and see it, and there's nothing else there. It's like you walk up and look at it, and like, okay. So I was really glad we just saw it from the boat tour. But then we were shopping, and I found Wally and Whiz, 100% vegan, gluten-free, allergen-free, natural ingredients. I'm disgusted to have my name on something like that. What are you doing, Europe? Come on, Europe, do better. Like, do you not know me? I was all excited. I saw my name on a product, and then I read the card. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'll never buy this. I should have bought one to bring it home to you guys. All right, so now we get on the cruise. Flip to the next slide, please, Lady Rock. You see how I don't look good, and my wife was so happy and smiling? Well, that's because we're doing our lifeboat drill. It's freezing outside. My wife did not bring a jacket, and I gave her my jacket.
Good husband move.
Yeah, so she looks good. So, like, in the Titanic scenario, I'm Jack, and she's Rose, and she's letting go.
and there's no, like, sadness in that. She's like, you know what? You're making me a little cold, so I got to let you go, okay?
Exactly. And so, yeah, that was that. The next picture to the right is what a real menu looks like at one of the restaurants on the Disney cruise, and what the kids menu looks like.
Oh, is it the pretty one?
Yeah, the one on the left is the kids menu.
Okay.
My wife ate from the kids menu so many nights. It was so great. Like she's not a foodie. All right, so we'll scroll down to the next one. My wife on these cruises, on the Disney cruise, loves to do
your bow tie.
Pictures with the characters.
Oh, yeah.
She loves it. We'll stop and do pictures of the characters. And I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. You know, I get it when you have kids, but she loves it. And so, but then there's me with Captain Mickey standing really awkwardly. And I don't know why I was standing like this. I look like a total dummy.
A little creepy.
I know, I do. And I'm like, why am I standing like that? But then the next picture on the right is really to show who ranks on this thing.
Yeah.
She's hugging the mouse who is charging her to be on this boat, and I'm over here just in this weird light cone, completely like I'm in a jail of like a force field jail, and I'm paying for it.
Yeah, you're paying for it.
Yeah, but she loves that mouse. Loves that mouse.
Gosh, that's so sweet.
All right, so go to the next one. This is prerequisite food pictures.
The bacon toast.
Yes, the bacon ketchup toast.
Okay, here's my question. If you had to put like a guessed number on how many slices of bacon you had on this cruise, how many would you say that you got up to?
Oh, that sandwich alone has more than 10. That one sandwich alone.
10?
Oh, yeah. I had stacked them pretty high. So if you, in case, and I didn't write this down on this. I'm sorry I didn't write it down. It's called bacon ketchup toast. The recipe is toast, bacon, and ketchup. And,
that's it.
Yeah, I apologize for not putting that down. Maybe we can send an email out, an email blast.
Yeah, because it's a bit complicated.
Yeah, and it's just what it is. That's it. And my dad used to make these, and I love them. And people would watch me. I felt shame making them because your fingers get all greasy.
Yeah.
And I would like turn my back to people because I'm just ripping apart bacon and then just putting ketchup on toast, which I know looks strange even to Europeans. It looks strange because they do some weird stuff.
Well, what about you? So you went a little classier during lunch,
a little bit of shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp cocktail. I had shrimp cocktail literally every day for lunch. I love shrimp cocktail.
Were you eating the same? Like, did you not have a diverse like diet on
Not
this
really.
boat?
No.
Well, and I could see Marty's plate in the background. It looks like she's having pizza.
Yeah, she had pizza.
Cheese pizza?
Yeah, we have 2 desserts there that
you
were really good.
pay for like really nice food.
I know.
And that's what y'all
and
go
I ate
for.
shrimp cocktail. I literally had that for lunch every day on the boat because I loved it.
So gross.
And I know I can get it from Kroger, but it's not the same.
Yeah, there's cruise shrimp cocktail. I get that.
And so then this one on the right, we went to this little place in, I think this was in Oslo, but like it's a little restaurant, you know, there next to the Abba Museum. Oh, so it was Sweden. And so, but this was how I got my one chocolate thing that I bought when I don't even know how much money it was because the money system is really weird over there. But it comes on this really nice china. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is, I mean, but that's how they do things there. It's really, it's interesting.
It's fancy.
I like it. Yeah, I do
of course,
like it.
because you like the finer things.
Absolutely. When you're flying business class.
Well, Kimberly is asking, did you try pickled herring in Sweden?
There's no way I would do that. I can't. I can't.
There's no way.
Like even the dinners would always have some weird frou-frou thing that I never ate. I tried a couple things that I didn't really care for, but I at least tried them. They were weird, like fishy things, and I tried a salmon thing, like a raw salmon, like I guess like sushi.
Oh yeah.
And I tried that, and I'm like, if I had to eat this, because I was starving on an island, fine, but I wouldn't choose to do it. It was fine. But
Some sashimi.
okay, next one, story time. How Marty, my wife, made me look like a racist to the guy who sat next to us every night at dinner.
Every night.
And how I made it worse. Okay.
Okay.
So we're sitting next to these people, and they worked for Disney Vacation Club. My wife and I are members of the Disney Vacation Club. I finally broke down, and we bought that for her. She's always wanted it for all these years. So when we were on a cruise before, we were talking to this guy, Mohammed. And he was the nicest guy, and so we're talking to him about doing it, and I never pulled the trigger on it. So this guy sits down and is working the cruise, and Marty looks at me. She goes, I think that's Mohammed. And I'm like, you think? I'm like, because I'm having trouble remembering him, but she's really good at this. Like, she's really good at faces and stuff like that. I'm like, where do you put it? Like, where are you at on this? Are you 80-20? It's like, I'm 60-40. I'm like, okay, that's over half.
That's risky numbers, though. That's
but with
math.
her batting average, it's pretty good. And so I'm like, and I'm looking at him, and I'm trying to remember if it's Muhammad or not. I'm looking at him, and finally, I'm like, are you sure? You really think it's him? She's like, yeah, I think so. I think, I'm not sure, but I think so. And so I look over him finally, and I'm like, hey, do you work for DVC? And when he goes, yeah, I work for Disney Vacation Club. I'm like, that's got to be the guy. It's got to be him. So I'm like, are you Mohammed? And he's like,
Sounds
no,
like Jake
no,
or
I'm not
something.
Mohammed at all. His name is Ardash. And
Okay.
he's like, he didn't have his name tag on. And he's like, no, I'm not Mohammed. I said, oh, well, you kind of look like him. And he's like, no, don't look like him at all. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But I'm like, you kind of look like him.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, wait a minute.
Yes.
Let me interrupt you because Marty did text me before this whole thing went down.
Did she really?
And she said, and I'm going to just read verbatim the text that she sent me. She said, I want you to be able to share the actual story of one of the pictures where he says, I set him up as a racist. She said,
She was prepped.
she said, yes, I did think it was a different guy, but I also would not have said his name. I'd have asked this particular guy his name first to not appear racist. So take that for what you will.
Because my problem was when I said, well, you look like him. And then our dash goes, no, I don't.
Yeah.
But I trusted her. And
Oh, so you're the victim?
I am the victim here.
Okay.
And then, so then we get to know him over the next couple of nights.
So he still talked to you?
Yeah. He's a really nice guy. Super
Okay.
nice guy.
So he was the bigger person.
And so we get to talking to him over the next couple of nights. And then one night they brought me 2 desserts because whatever. Like, it's a cruise. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're so good. And he's like, those look really good. I'm like, oh, I'm powering through them. I'm like, I'm going to tell you, they are great. And in an hour, I'm going to have diabetes. To which our dash goes, I have diabetes. Of course you do.
Gosh.
Of course. Why would you not have diabetes when I'm making a diabetes joke?
You need to just keep your mouth shut.
It's so bad.
There's this video like a long time ago where there's this Scottish dude who's just like having to apologize for offending like every
Yes,
last
I've
person.
seen that.
He's like, knocking 2 birds with 1 stone. I'd like to apologize to the avian community.
Yes, that's what it felt
That's
like.
what it sounds
I'm
like.
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm like, but
You did? You
keep digging.
apologized?
Keep
yeah, I'm
digging the
like,
Did you learn your lesson?
no, no, I didn't. But then,
Wow.
yeah, and so then the rest of the cruise, he was like, you know how much sugar that has? You probably should get yourself checked out. Because I was telling him like other health things, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I was like, dadgummit, man. So,
Wow.
all right, we'll move off of story time. In Sweden, we went to the Abba Museum. They love themselves some Abba
cool.
there.
Oh, that one on the far left is a little creepy.
Yes, it was these weird marionettes, which was funny. And then the one on the right is Marty at the doorway. That's a mock-up of what is
the
that?
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was really good. They have this thing where you could perform with Abba holograms, and so I made
saw the
Marty do
video.
it. Did you see it?
That's the most excited I've ever seen Marty.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
she sprinted out there.
If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on our socials, on our Facebook page. Just search Wally Show. I think you posted it on Instagram too.
I did.
So search
It
Wally
was
Show
cool.
on Instagram too. Yeah, I like the hologram. Like I mean, it looks like they are there.
Yeah.
But she's
so
on the
she
stage
goes
with
up,
them.
and she wasn't going to do it. I'm like, come on, it'll be funny for Haley and stuff, and I could use it for socials. And so she goes up and is doing it, and then I get inspired, and there's some German lady standing next to me. I'm like,
You cannot let Marty have the limelight alone.
No.
You have to take it over.
she was struggling, honestly.
Was
there.
she?
Yeah, I didn't feel it.
my
I wasn't feeling her
gosh.
performance.
She wasn't selling it.
No, and so I this lady that barely speaks English, I go, would you hold this? Would you hold this for me? She's like, okay. And I run up there and I jump on, and then she's laughing. You hear that lady laughing, and she didn't run off with my phone, so that was nice. But that was a really fun experience. Okay, skip down to the next one. I always like to buy a little bit of art from people on the streets that are to remember trips by. And this guy was the nicest guy, and he was doing watercolors, and so I bought one of the things of the town that we were in. But like he was telling me, there's a story in the storyline of Game of Thrones where, and I know it's a rough show for people to watch, but there's a storyline. It's called The Red Wedding, where this guy basically locks all the doors and like kills this whole group of people.
Wow.
And
okay.
I know.
Where are you going with this?
So we're talking to this really nice guy about all of this stuff there, and like, oh yeah, and he goes, oh, do you know the history of this plaza? And I'm like, no. And so he explains to us that, and he goes through all the history of it, that episode of Game of Thrones was based on what really happened right where we were standing.
Oh, that's super neat.
Yeah, exactly. Super
Neat is
neat.
not the right word.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, and so he was this like happy, nice guy telling us about all these murders, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, next slide. This is how Marty turned me into a creeper. So there was this
Why do we have so many photos?
There was this girl on the boat who loved the pictures with the characters more than even Marty. She knew every outfit that Minnie was going to be wearing, and she had a custom-made outfit that mimicked Minnie's outfits. I'm not making it up.
That's
like,
a lot.
She had to spend a lot of money on this. And so my wife was like, there she is again, take a picture. So I had to pretend like I was taking pictures of Marty to take creepy pictures of this girl so that Marty could show them to Haley. And like she literally did this every night of the cruise.
She looks like she's probably in her 30s.
Okay, that was what we debated, and I think you're right.
Yeah, is that her mom in the second picture?
Yeah, her mom was with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
huh.
Yeah, and so...
And she was never wrong. Like, she
No.
always had the right outfit
I don't know
on
how
for-
she figured it all out and did it, but maybe she's done
But
the
she
cruise
doesn't
a bunch
look
of times.
happy in either picture.
Yeah, she looks like a.
Yeah, she looks sad.
She looks like an emo-y.
Yeah.
Did you at all
smile.
try to ask and converse with said person?
No, this was easier just to take weird photos from
100%.
afar. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that
So-
is interesting.
So that was more of Marty's great work.
Why didn't, if Marty wants a picture, why didn't Marty take the picture?
Yeah.
Because she has no
Making
problem
you do
making
it?
me look like a creeper racist, so that's why.
Maybe so.
And now, all right, the final thing. When you go on a cruise, like, the serving staff is the best. Like, if you have a good serving staff, it makes your cruise great. So this was Amy from Ireland and Santiago from Brazil, and they were so kind. We loved them. Santiago even sang to me on my birthday, which I have to tell you is a little weird, to be serenaded when you're just standing there like, okay. He did a good job. Like, I mean, thank goodness it wasn't bad, because I can't watch bad
Was he like
performances.
making eye contact with you the
Too
whole
much.
time?
Too much. Yeah.
All right, Santi. Time
Singing
to
over the rainbow.
drop
yeah.
back a little bit, sir.
Oh, somewhere.
Yeah. I think this is where our Dash from earlier, the guy that I looked like a racist to, got even with me because he knew Santiago, and he's like, he has a beautiful singing voice. He should sing for you. I think our Dash did that just to hose me. But in this thing, the two bags are Mickey
Sprinkles?
head sprinkles that came on Marty's Mickey ice cream bar that she got every night. But she used to buy these sprinkles in the store. You can't buy them anymore.
Oh, that's sad.
And so when they were like, on the first night, I said, okay, I'm going to test your customer service here, Santiago. You say you want excellent ratings. So I need more of these sprinkles for my wife to take home so that she can put them in pancakes and on ice cream.
Smuggle these out.
He brought me a cup of sprinkles every night of the cruise, and we kept adding it to the bag.
No way.
And by the end of the cruise, this is the night before, the end of the cruise, that bag was completely filled with sprinkles.
my
So
So
cool.
I'm like, there
Good
you go.
service.
That's how you do. And we over tipped them
It's
too.
the little things.
Yep,
Wow,
that's how you do it. So
that is awesome. I
Anyway.
had been wondering because you had posted a bunch of photos before you got back and before you could
Right.
explain everything, and I was like, Dash,
Right.
like, because you always have have a candy stash with you as a grown 55-year-old man.
Well, it's crazy. Back to the first class stuff, the business class stuff. I have all this food to eat on the flight, and I didn't need any of it because, I mean, I'm eating steaks and whatever I want. And you don't have to wait till they just decide to serve you. It's like, oh, can I get a soda, please? Okay, here, not a problem. We'll get you whatever you want.
So you don't have to wait for the cart to come down.
No, you just ding, hello.
Wow. See, I've never experienced first class, but something
amazing.
tells me it's kind of like one of those things where I shouldn't allow myself to do it because
You're going to ruin every other chance you don't get it.
Yeah, I'll never be able to go back. It's kind of like theater seating.
Yeah.
So like now, they have the ones where you can recline. And now when I go to one where I just have to sit like a normal peasant, it is
the worst.
horrible.
You're like, this is killing my neck.
Yeah.
It's killing my neck.
Well, when we flew home, Coach, we felt all the pain again, you know. And it was a longer flight because you're going against the wind, so it was like 8 hours home. Like, But I will say this, like going one direction somewhere, like to mitigate the cost, if you want to get somewhere refreshed and like have fun, like right out of the gate, it was pretty great. Coming home, like who cares? I don't even care if you lose my luggage at this point. I just want to get home.
I got my cruise done.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, all right, no big deal. But it was a game changer for long flights.
Well, you had stories to tell.
There's
for
a couple.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. Well, that's your Slippidy slideshow for today. We got to jump out and go to a meeting, but thank you for indulging me. And I'm so glad that Brent and Robin were on there.
That's so neat.
How crazy is that? That's funny.
Hope they're doing okay.
Yeah, hopefully they're okay too.
Yeah, they were so nice people. All right, well, there you go. That's going to do it. And we'll do our after